we make of the Houston Roughnecks? One side of the fence, we find a team that is likely going to be in the XFL championship game representing the South Division. One of the brightest young minds in the league running this offense, littered with weapons all over the skill positions. They have a knack for great defense, leading the league in both sacks and picks. So no wonder they're a 6.5 point home favorite Saturday, right? Hosting 2-6 Vegas. Well, how about the other side of the fence? Consider this for a moment. Let's take off those rose-colored Roughnecks glasses that some of us have been wearing. We see a team who is scoring 30.5 points, average their first 4 games of the season, has crashed like Bitcoin. Now 18 points per game, the last 4 out. So have the Houston Roughnecks peaked early? We talk about this all the time with championship teams in every level. You have to peak at the right time. Did Houston hit their peak early? Or did they just need to win ugly and get their mojo back, right, to prepare for this stretch run? Remember, this was the unofficial 2020 champions, so there's something to play for here for Houston to defend the title. Back in XFL 2020, all of us who followed the league 3 years ago, someone had to win it. You can't just say, oh, the season's over. No, the Houston Roughnecks were 5-0. This is their chance to defend a title. And now at 5-3, a chance to win this week and amass their win total from 2020. Let's take a look at how A.J. Smith and that air raid offense matches up with Vegas this weekend. First of all, if you're A.J., you're certainly not happy with averaging 126 pass yards per game in your last 2. The good news for them, that was against the top 2 pass defenses in the league. So it's a little bit of an excuse. The numbers weren't there, obviously, but at least you have that going for them. Now you draw Vegas. They are 7th in pass defense. They give up 220 through the air per game. A.J. McCarron, Ben DiNucci, both had field days against this Vegas Vipers secondary. Will Brandon Silvers or will Cole McDonald come in? Interesting decision for A.J. Smith this week. For whoever starts at quarterback, they have a little bit of an advantage here. Protecting Silvers might not be so easy. Haven't been too impressed with the Houston offensive line as of late. And when you got guys like Peta, who has 7.5 sacks for the Vipers, and Max Roberts, who's been tearing it up, I mean, obviously Vic Beasley is a problem. You got some guys who can rush the passer for the Vegas Vipers. So they're going to have, we said it time and time again, Brandon Silvers is not great at escaping the pocket, not the best mobility. So you better believe Chris Dishman and Rod Woodson are going to dial up those blitzes. We saw C.J. Avery. He's another guy who had probably the hit of the season on Darius Shepard. I was there in attendance for that St. Louis-Vegas game, and it just sucked the life out of the building. Like, when you think of a collective sigh, C.J. Avery absolutely crushed Shepard. Good thing he was okay, but what a hit it was. Some hard hitters here for Vegas, and I know the last 2 weeks, their secondary has faced St. Louis without A.J. McCarron and San Antonio, who's not anywhere competent in the pass game. But for Vegas, they've looked a little bit better. And naturally, I'm sure Rod Woodson's happy about that because he is a Hall of Fame cornerback. So your DB's got to be good. Marwin Evans, Mo Smith both got themselves in the box score with interceptions. Deontay Anderson made a really acrobatic play, a nice pick against San Antonio a couple of weeks ago. So, this secondary, how much can you really trust them? I don't know. It depends what Houston you're going to get, what kind of offense you're going to see. And I didn't think we saw enough of Houston's run game. They just simply evaporated in the run game against the San Antonio Brahmas. Only 13 carries combined. And I thought Max Borghi was coming off a solid game. I think he had 9 carries for 52 yards against St. Louis. He was well over 5 yards per carry, but they didn't feed him against the Brahmas. They have to. He's a very talented player. But this all comes back to Brandon Silvers offensively, and he's probably going to get the start. Have to make better decisions, and he can't do that unless he's first protected. So Houston offense, slight edge here, not as big as you think. Let's flip sides of the ball. Look at the Vegas offense this week, definitely a statistical outlier in the Vegas offensive scheme. 208 rushing yards against St. Louis. Where did that come from? This was not a team that was running the ball efficiently all season. And the first time out against St. Louis, they managed only 43 yards on the ground. So this was a considerable improvement for that offense and Ray Sherman. Jalen McClendon opens up the offense in more ways than one. Him using his legs and his arm has been very beneficial for this offense. But how about the legs? He led them with 62 yards rushing last week, had a couple of massive third down conversions where the pocket broke down. The last 2 weeks, you had Jack Cohn and A.J. McCarron that you went against with Houston. But a combined 9 sacks those last 2 games. Trent Harris for Houston has just been eating up. So are they going to be able to get to McClendon here? They've been missing Tim Ward the last 3 games, and that's been a little bit of a struggle. But Trent Harris has been filling in when Ward is out. Ward has been filling in earlier in the season when Harris went down with an injury. So some injury notes. Jeff Badette back in practice, listed as limited with that thigh injury that sidelined him the last, I guess you could say, game and a half. So that will be big for Vegas. I'm taking Houston to win here. It was a tough one. I went back and forth a little. I'm just not sure that Vegas has quite enough to be able to pull an upset here. I think they're at a low point in their season, but you could also view that as kind of back against the wall, a little bit of wounded animal mode. And, you know, it is true that players in this league may not be as concerned about their record as they are at other levels because they're just here to simply ball out. And they're just here to put stuff on film. Look at Houston. They haven't been great for us, especially if you're backing them. 4-4 against the spread. Actually started out 4-0. So that's 4 straight they've dropped against the spread. They are 3-5 to the over. That is crazy to me. This is a team that came out, scored, 33, 44. They were balling offensively. And just 3-5 to the over. They are 3-1 against the spread at home. Again, take from it what you will. I'm going Houston to win, but I am taking Vegas to cover. Not a best bet, but I think this is a 20-18 type of game. So I also lean the under. Keep an eye on the weather in Houston. I did see a chance of thunderstorms in the forecast. Again, I don't know what really to make of that. It's tough to bet games just based on weather, but if you already like the under, that might be a point of emphasis for you to have on your side. I'm going Houston to win. Like I said, Vegas to cover. Zook, are you on board with the Roughnecks? They've let us down a little bit the last couple weeks.
I am on board with the Roughnecks.
You think Vegas covers?
It's so tough that I would not bet it. No way.
It is a tough number. I actually thought this number would come out at about 3 or 4 and gain some steam on Houston throughout the week, but just not the case. It's kind of stuck at 6.5. Again, total is 43.5. You have 2 teams that like to throw the ball around a lot, but are not great to the over. Mikey is all over the money line. I think we had it at plus 210. Pretty good value for a little sprinkle. I think if there was an upset this year outside of Orlando, DC that you were looking at, this is the time. I'm way more confident in Vegas to pull this off than I was with San Antonio to beat Houston.